Hello and welcome back to AIXC Leader Talks, the podcast where we go beyond the buzz to unpack the real business impact and future facing insights in AI, analytics, and emerging tech. I am Aratrika, and we are thrilled you're joining us for Season 2, Episode 2, a conversation that dives into redefining the role of leadership in the era of AI. Today's discussion is all about building the right framework and culture for AI success, from enterprise readiness to leadership mindsets that bridge ambition with execution. I'm honored to be joined by two visionary council members whose experience spans AI, strategy, and organizational change. We have Ananya Ghosh Chowdhury, Senior Cloud Solution Architect at Microsoft. Ananya brings over a decade of experience across AI, data science, and machine learning, data engineering, and cloud technologies, helping organizations optimize cloud investments and design advanced strategic AI solutions that drive meaningful outcomes. She's also building AI Boardroom, a community empowering AI professionals and helping business leaders bridge the talent and strategy gap in the AI era. And joining her is Ling Zhang, founder and AI and data science strategy consulting of Grow to Your Fullest. Ling has spent more than 20 years helping companies accelerate growth and operational excellence through data science and AI, shaping strategy, nurturing teams, and fostering data-driven cultures at scale. In today's episode, Ananya and Ling explore critical questions about strategic levers that actually move the needle in AI adoption, and what leadership mindsets underpin AI that scales across business functions. Whether you're building AI solutions, advising leaders, or shaping technology strategy, this conversation will give you frameworks, lessons, and real examples to think with. So let's dive in.
Hi, my name is Ananya, and in this episode, we will be exploring how leadership is changing as AI moves from pilots and experimentation into the core of how organizations operate. And today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Ling, who has been leading AI transformation programs and also advising executives on how to create real business impact with AI, not just proof of concepts, right? So, Ling, firstly, welcome to the show. And let's start broad, right? So, when you look at AI transformation today, how do you see the role of leadership evolving compared to a few years ago?
Thank you. First thing, let's look at the AI transformation. So the biggest trend I see is AI is no longer just transforming technology. It's also transforming how people work, how decisions are made, how organizations operate as a whole. If we look at earlier days, leadership was often about being a silo visionary, a sponsor, or a manager. Leaders decided what to build, approved funding, managed the timeline, allocated resources. Today is different. AI touches employee, customers, partners, product, even real-time decision flows. With the scope of change expands that far, leadership has to evolve as well. So let's look at the core of leadership. It's always about providing direction in uncertainty. Today, that uncertainty moves faster, run deeper. Leaders must think more broadly, act more deliberately, leading the transformation itself, even when the way wasn't fully visible. Look at my career. I led a data science team, and we delivered support models. However, sometimes the business impact lagged. And one time I realized that the gap was not technology. It was alignment, shared understanding, or vision. Once we clarified the business decisions AI was meant to support, so we brought data, product, and marketing operations teams into the conversation much earlier. Everything shifted. So that experience reshaped how I think about leadership in the AI era. The role is moving away from manager or control toward orchestration, sense making. Much like a conductor, leaders don't play every instrument, but they ensure data, people, business, technology move together with purpose and harmony. So right now, as organizations become more authentic, leaders must to learn orchestrate complexity, not only push AI forward, but also make sense what AI reveals. That's I see the direction leadership is evolving.
Yeah, what I have seen with my customers and with the internal teams working here, right, is the expectation is also different from senior leadership at this point, right? So now senior leaderships are owning an entire AI vision. Like, we're asked to sponsor some concrete ROI-driven use cases. And of course, when we talk about AI, there's this entire accountability for ethics, data, change management, and all of that discussion comes into, plays a critical part in our decision making. So definitely the industry has changed a lot. We are seeing more use cases going from that POC experimentation phase to now finally going to that production phase, and people are always about, okay, fair, this is my AI investment, but what is my ROI out of it, right? Because is it really solving a business challenge, or is it just still a hype? And now, especially end of 2025, we know this has been the year of agentic AI, right? 2026, it's going to be more towards multi-agent frameworks, right? So now we are definitely seeing the different parts of organizations coming together, specialized agents, and agents talking to each other, transferring information, things like that, and then solving a bigger business problem together. So very excited about the coming year as well, how it's gonna change. But yep, moving ahead, right, to our next question. So in your experience, what helps leaders move from simply managing AI projects to kind of shaping an AI-driven strategy across the organization?
Oh, that's a really good question because every organization need to make this change. So in my experience, it really starts with the mindset. Leaders move from managing AI projects to shaping AI-driven strategy when they stop thinking in terms of deliverable timeline. They need to think about in terms of shared vision decisions, enterprise orchestration. So the shift begins when leaders realize AI itself has changed. Earlier, AI initiatives were often narrow and function specific, with clear handoffs between teams. Today is different. AI is embedded into real-time decisions, and it involves many teams and makes the boundaries between teams blur. Data, product, marketing, operation, business teams must collaborate from very beginning. Because the real question right now is no longer ask, can we build this? It's more about what decisions will AI to make under what kind of conditions or assumptions with what kind of business impact. So to shape AI strategy, leaders need four things. First is system level perspective. So understanding how AI connects revenue, cost, risk, customer experience, business decisions, operations. Have this system level perspective, big picture. Secondly, leaders need to have clarity on business outcome. AI is not treated as a strategic lever. AI should be treated as a strategic lever, not a technical experiment. And the third is about confidence to convey and influence teams across functions, creating shared vision or understanding rather than only manage timelines. Finally, enough technology talent fluence to access capability, support gaps, make informed trade-offs over time. The short answer is leaders move from managing AI projects to shaping AI-driven strategy when they stop optimizing delivery, start orchestrating decisions cross enterprise.
Right. And I've seen personally that in a lot of programs I have worked on, the turning point is when AI stops being just a scattered list of use cases and becomes a core part of the business strategy, right?
Yes.
And that usually means that you're choosing a number of small projects of high impact domains, like let's say customer service, supply chain, risk management, right? So if you have individual use cases from these domains and then bring it all together, bring it as a part of your core business strategy and commit to those transformations end to end, that's where you see a lot of business value. That's where, your business strategy actually shows up.
Yes, I agree. But it's also very important that leaders need to see the connections between different business use cases upfront before do the go to execution.
Yes, exactly. So that's what your strategy comes in, right? You need to have your strategy at an organization level, then have individual
yes.
use cases, like do it and tie the entire vision together. So yeah, amazing. So moving to our next question, right? So AI initiatives often involve multiple teams and perspectives, kind of a follow-up of what we were already talking about, right? So, how do you approach building alignment and also influencing stakeholders around a shared AI vision?
Yes. So, in my experience, I learned that alignment does not come from ask everyone to agree. It comes from helping everyone understand how their roles fit into a shared system. So today, teams no longer operated in silos as before. AI initiatives are too interconnected, dynamic, and too impactful across business. Decisions made in one area in one team now ripple quickly across other teams or areas. That means alignment has to be intentional from the very beginning. So my starting point is always a shared framework. It's a common way of thinking, shared understanding, shared roadmap that cuts across teams. When leaders use such a shared framework to guide AI initiatives, it becomes a shared language across organization. So that's actually the core principle in my AI-driven business mastery work. Before we talk about models, technologies, platforms, we clarify business outcome. The decisions AI will influence the operating context around those decisions. So a shared framework provides clarity. The clarity itself builds confidence. When teams are not just doing the task, they are contributing to a larger vision. A shared framework also creates transparency. Each team understands not only what they do, but why they do that, what value they create, where they depend on others. That transparency encourages earlier collaboration, greater trust cross organization. A shared framework makes the complexity visible, navigable. When stakeholders see clearly how revenue, cost, risk, customer experience, operations they connect through AI, influence become easier. People stop defending functional territory. They will start collaborating around shared outcome. In that way, influence becomes the natural result of organizational trust. So building alignment isn't about persuasion. It's about creating a clear, structured, shared framework where everyone sees the path from AI initiatives to business values. When the clarity exists, influence will follow naturally. That's the way I think how we can build alignment, influence stakeholders.
No, absolutely. In my experience, I have seen, when AI is described only in terms of models and infrastructures, sometimes business teams tune out, right? But then when the conversation is framed around outcomes, like let's say faster decisions, safer operations, or better customer experience, then suddenly everyone has skin in the game, right? So as a leader, the way you tell your story really matters. And talking about AI vision, right? Like if we set a North Star vision, and if that AI vision is anchored in the organization's purpose and values, then people are far more willing to move. And even if that disrupts existing processes, so that storytelling part, that having a shared vision, a North Star vision, and everyone working towards that, and bringing in teams earlier, and making that framework is definitely, makes people way more willing to experiment and also try.
Yeah, I'm very glad that you mentioned the story part, storytelling. So with a shared framework, I think leaders can tell a compelling story consistently along with the roadmap. Yeah, make it more complete, more basically inspiring, because they connect the dots together through a framework with storytelling.
Yes. No, absolutely. So moving ahead to our next question, right? So when AI projects run into challenges or they don't deliver as expected, how do you guide teams through these moments, right? What does a constructive strategy reset look like for you?
To be honest, those moments usually are not comfortable, but I think it's really valuable. They are often when leaders matters most. So the first thing I do is go back to the very beginning of the initiative. Before trying to fix anything, I want to understand how the project was framed, what expectations were set, what assumptions were made, and what uncertainties were acknowledged upfront. Because I believe AI challenges don't come from poor execution, they come from unspoken assumptions. It's about data, process logic, even organizational maturity. So even with good preparation, AI has a way of revealing what we don't know we didn't know. That's where leadership really shows up. The second step is creating psychological safety. I remind teams that learning is not a side effect of AI work, it's the work itself. So instead immediately asking, what went wrong? I ask, what did we learn that we couldn't have known before? That question changed the energies in the room from defensiveness to curiosity. So in my experience, AI progress is seasonal. Sometimes it's growth, sometimes tension, correction, renewal. Leaders shouldn't be panic when running into these challenges. Should treat it as a signal, not a setback. So the third step talk about constructive strategy reset. So first thing, this is not about giving up. It's about reseeing the landscape. A strategy reset means revisiting business goals, revalidation assumptions, the decision to make, and also adjusting the approach based on the system told us or what we learned. Sometimes it means we need to narrow it down, change assumptions, rethinking how human need to stay in the loop. So I think most importantly, strategy reset is a mindset. You don't truly fail until you stop learning, give up. Resetting strategy isn't a retreat. It's an act of resilience and maturity. It says, oh, we are moving forward with cleaner eyes. So when leaders model that posture, teams don't lose confidence, they gain it. Mm-hmm.
No, absolutely. And I have seen some strategy resets. They work best when they are treated as kind of like structured check-ins, like simple retrospectives, right? Like where you are allowed to pivot the problem statement if required, right? Pivot the success metrics or even the solution approach. But as long as you are honest about the trade-offs, it's never a failure. It's just learning, and it's probably just a change in direction that it's looking for. And I love the part that you mentioned. I love the part where you mentioned psychological safety, right? Because the team should have the, say that they should be able to say that, oh, okay, this is not working as expected, right? But this also kind of insists on learning, right? Like during doing this experiment or doing this project, what did we learn about the problem? What did we learn about the data or the user that we did not know before? Right. So these are all learnings. And as long as leaders are open to pivoting the problem statement, like changing the approach, it's more of a learning. And then, of course, as you do more experimentation, you learn more. You reach to a point where, you hit your key metrics and your success metrics.
Exactly. So basically, the while we doing, we are learning. Mm-hmm. So all things we don't know upfront.
And exactly. And these are new technologies. We all are learning together. The ICs are learning together. The leaders are learning together because these are disruptive technologies. None of us have done it in the past, right? So it's not that a technology this is existing since last 10 years. So it's okay. It's all learning together. As long as we are committed to learning, we will be successful. Yeah, moving to the next question, right? So, from your leadership journey, what have you learned about balancing execution excellence also with long-term strategic thinking, especially in AI programs?
Sure, that's really a great question. So I would reframe it slightly based on my experience. Execution excellence and long-term strategy thinking, they are not against each other. They are two expressions of the same intent. Strategy defines where the organization is going. Execution is how that direction becomes real. If one is missing, the other one loses meaning. So long-term strategy thinking in AI is about clarity at the enterprise level, how AI supports business goals, how it makes decisions, how it reshapes operating models over time. Execution excellence is about translating that intent into high-quality delivery, building the right thing in the right way with discipline and accountability. It's not a question about choosing one over another. You can't justify poor strategy with great execution. And also, you can't excuse weak delivery with a strong strategy. Sustainable AI transformation requires both. So where leaders do need to be intentional about balance, I think it's in how execution defined. In the AI era, execution is not only about shaping models' applications, it's also about building organizational capability, such as reskilling teams, improving AI fluency, improving judgment over time. Learning, as we mentioned before, actually is a part of execution, not something that happens after delivery. From my journey, I see leaders who do this well operated on both horizons simultaneously. They push for near-term results to build credibility momentum, meanwhile continually invest in skills culture needed for the long run. This dual focus allows AI program to mature rather than stop. So in other words, execution without strategy leads to fragmentation. Strategy without execution leads to frustration. So the role of leadership is holds both together. As AI becomes not just something the organization builds, but something the organization grows into. That's the way I see how execution excellence and long-term strategy thinking goes together when we are doing AI program.
Yeah. And personally, I have found it powerful when leaders define success not only as ROI on individual projects, but also as capability building. Like this particular initiative, did this initiative leave our teams more skilled? Did it make our data more usable? And did it make our governance more matured than before? So it's not just individual projects, it's also about building that runway for all of your future projects, right? Building your
Yes.
that reusable platform, building your data platforms, your operating models that again every use case can benefit for later. So it's a parallel effort. As of course there is a pressure of like delivery, there's a pressure of businesses want visible quick wins, but you also need to make sure that you are building the foundations like data quality, security, governance, right? Because without those early wins won't scale, right? Or worse, they can be at risk. So those parallel efforts and like prioritizing both for long-term scalability perspective is, I think, a great way of looking at it.
Definitely. Yeah.
So, moving to our last and final question. So, as AI becomes embedded in more business functions, what capabilities or mindsets do you believe leaders will need to cultivate to stay effective?
I'm glad that you mentioned the mindset. So I think that's still very important that as AI becomes more capable, human mindset become more valuable, not less. So let's talk about mindset first. One of the most important shifts from leaders is cultivating humility around what they don't know, especially what they think they know, but they actually don't know. The second part is most limiting. Leaders aware that will open doors to learning, listening, and do the better judgment because they will listen different diverse opinions that no algorithm can replace, actually. Another critical mindset is treating continuous learning as a leadership responsibility, not a personal hobby. As AI reshapes the business models, leaders must stay anchored in vision and strategy while continually deepening their understanding of technology, talent, and market dynamics. So from capability standpoint, leaders now need to manage hybrid teams of humans intelligent systems. That requires knowing where machines excel, where human matters most, how to make these two work together, let them strengthen each other. Finally, I think either leaders must redefine success capability, not just by what gets delivered, but by whether people are becoming more capable as they do the work. So leaders who stay effective will be those who build the AI fluence, learning-oriented culture, group people along machines with humility and intention. That's I see how the capability mindset going to emerge.
Yep. For me, I think the foundation is AI literacy, right? So leaders essentially they don't need to code models, but they must understand what AI can do and cannot be, right? And closely tied to that is human oversight, right? Where humans remain accountable for those critical decisions, for those regularly reviewing all those AI outputs and have a clear escalation paths when something does not look right. And talking about the mindset side, I think we all need to see AI as augmenting human potential, not replacing it, right? So,
Definitely. Yeah.
exactly. So, leaders who get this right investment in reskilling their people, right, in communicating transparently about how AI will be used, how we can create new opportunities for for employees to move into these high value roles alongside these tools. That will definitely set us apart and making sure that we are making ethical, responsible use of AI as a technology.
So definitely we leverage AI. AI can do a lot of things. So human beings must beyond do something beyond AI. Basically, AI can't do. That make humans more human. That's the way I think about that. Yeah.
Well, that's such an amazing statement. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your experiences and also your concrete examples with us today. From my side, what really stands out is that AI leadership is no longer just about technology. It's about vision, ethics, alignment, and also the courage to experiment in public and making sure that you have that human oversight and human augmentation as a part of it. Thank you so much. With that, I think we can end here.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on season 2, episode 2 of AIXC Leader Talks. A heartfelt thank you to Ananya and Ling for sharing their perspectives on AI strategy, organizational transformation, and the cultural foundations that make innovation both responsible and impactful. If you found this episode insightful, do not forget to subscribe to AI Executive Council on YouTube so you never miss a conversation from the front lines of enterprise innovation. We'll be back soon with more stories, strategies, and voices shaping the future of AI. Until then, thanks for listening.